Hey guys, I see you there. I see you. As you can see, we got Mo in the house. What's up, guy? What's up? Welcome, welcome, welcome. You guys are awesome. I welcome everyone in, especially if you're watching. I assume most of our viewers are watching by themselves, Mo. So I always say welcome everybody because I know we got a big community here. But really, welcome to you to our special live event, Mo. We haven't done this before, just you and I. It's quite cuddly.
No, we have not.
And if you're new to the channel, which if you're on this, you're probably not. But if you are, Paul and I have been doing this show for a long time. But in trader mode because we thought there was an aspect of the show missing, which is this day trading, stock trading, momentum trading type aspect. Paul and I harp on the value trading, slow, disciplined approach to investing. But Trader Mo you've been with us a few months now. You've been slaying it. The Bid and Ask Nation, that middle Patreon tier is going incredibly well. And those of you who are in it, I'm sure you're in the chat. I'll say hello to you. And Mo is here today to talk about just everything that is. Mo, I don't even have my terms right. This is why I'm happy I have you on here and our viewers can listen to you chat. Do I call this day trading or just trading or momentum trading? Like, give me my terms right.
You know, it's just trading, and I think it's fun because for me, I stopped trading on charts for a few years actually, and what I was doing was only value investing. I mean, 98% of my portfolio and Paul's is exactly the same. Really, the two exceptions are my trading and Paul's short on the S&P. So, but really what I like to do and what I like to teach is trading. So you have long-term charts, which this is great for the working person that doesn't have time to sit there all day in the Discord and day trade and whatnot. So they'll enter a position and run it for a few weeks, a few months, and make money that way. We also have the swing traders, that people that want to be a little bit more active than the long-term chart readers, and they can make trades in 1 to 5 day periods. Then you have the day traders. Those are the people that sit on their computers all day, every day, and kind of make money that way. So we come at it from all different perspectives. It's kind of whatever fits your schedule, you are able to do on a chart.
So what I hope to do moving forward for the next hour and a half for guys is, if you're new to trading, which is me, Mo and I have definitely discussed moving forward about a very simplistic, take a dummy like myself, take some money. We're going to make some videos for YouTube and for Patreon only about how do we really start with like a complete dumbass like myself about getting the money, getting a trading platform, getting your charts going, getting your mindset, your approach to trading. Because Mo, I've said this yesterday with Paul, I'm getting just a little jealous seeing those folks in your Patreon group, the Bid and Ask Nation. You know, I love ya. The Bid and Ask Nation, they're making money. They're making money, and they're very excited about it. And frankly, some of them haven't been doing it that long, Mo. I mean, talk about
Seth,
Go ahead.
Seth, I have a friend of mine that I've known him since I was 5 years old. And I don't know if he's on here right now, but we've been great friends since I was 5 years old. He's my longest friend. And he jumped into the Bid and Ask Nation 6 weeks ago. Today, he cashed out and he made $1,250 on a CCL trade. I just can't believe the amount of money that people are making that have really just started doing this. And I think that's why the channel worked so well from a value perspective, is because, and there he is, Nicholas Korchinski. He's the one that made that money.
Oh, okay. Hey, Nick, there he is.
Yeah. So I think this channel worked so well from a value point with Paul, because you are, I don't want to call, you're not a dummy because you have a PhD, but when it comes to money, you're a dummy.
Yeah.
Well, not anymore, but you were. And it was more like, instead of Paul teaching a camera, he was teaching you. So I think that it would be a great way to come at this perspective. You have no knowledge in trading, and I kind of teach you, and you are the Bid and Ask Nation.
Yeah, that's true. And so I think some things that you might be feeling if you're watching at home is like maybe a sense of overwhelm. Is this above my head? How difficult is this? I want to bring all this up today over the next hour. These are all the questions that I have as well. So if you're in the lowest tier,
makes sense.
Yeah. So if you're not in Patreon or in the lowest tier of the Patreon, and you've been wondering, can I bump up and maybe get involved in this? Mo has created. We're not going to do a full sell on this Patreon the whole time. We're going to get right into this. But Mo has created a community where basically, Mo, you guys are just talking on the morning, and this is kind of what I want to get in on, right? Like, you are bouncing off your patrons. You guys are getting on these teams of buyers. Just talk about what you're doing with your team real quick, and we'll get into some of the more simplistic questions as to where we're going.
Yeah, it's funny. When I first started this, I kind of felt like I was going to be the guy that was going to lead what stocks we buy, this and that. And then all of a sudden, as this thing started to really grow, it turned into you guys in the Bid and Ask Nation were bringing me stocks. And I was like, man, I missed all of these. So for example, like right now we're in BJ's Wholesale, Amgen, Walmart. I didn't find any of those. These guys found those. So it has really become a community. We have so many people in the UK. I mean, it's incredible. 5 o'clock in the morning, the chat gets going, and it doesn't stop until like 1 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. It's really incredible. Yeah, I love it. It's great. It's a great way to make money and not be alone trying to do it.
Yeah, I just clicked the wrong button, showed my messy office. Mo, you know my office. my office is going through a little bit of transition. Yeah, so we'll talk about all this. We have some announcements, of course, to all you patrons. And if you're on the fence, we can talk about joining the Patreon later. So, Mo, I want to get into some things. Here's what I like to talk about. Now, folks, if you can be patient out there, if you know all this, there are people obviously who don't, and so we'd like to get them involved as well. But I'd like to go over, Mo, really some key topics, and maybe we can go in order. Is like, what is your mindset for trading and your approach? We'll get into how do you start. Who is this process for? Like, a lot of the people who are slaying it in the bid and ask nation. Who is the appropriate avatar that this might work for? And of course, the question everyone asks is how much money do I need? So maybe let's start with something like that. Is like, before we get into a mindset and approach, Mo, like, who is this for? You know, you and I talked about different levels that we're going to create. I think our audience is asking, when I do become a patron and I jump in the Discord, it's a little bit of a jungle of different levels of knowledge. So like, you know, you and I have discussed different levels. Like, level 0 is I don't trade at all, to all the way to we thought maybe like a level 7 or 8 was like, I'm already doing options, I know everything about this. But I think obviously if you're on today's live stream, you probably know what you're doing with your money. Hopefully you might be new to trading and you're eager to learn, which is me. So like, who is this? I'm sounding like an owl. Who is this for? And who is ripe to succeed in this? How will, you know, who's the best person to succeed for this, Mo?
So I'll be honest. I mean, it's really anybody that has any interest in doing this. The way I started, I was 14 years old when I started doing this. I was in the computer lab at school. They gave us a stock market game where we were trading fake money, and now it's called paper trading. And I just started doing it. And all of a sudden I started making money. I showed it to my dad. He gave me $500. I just started making money that way. So I can't really say that it's literally for everybody. I do think that the way that I teach this, it's so simple that anybody can learn this. I go back to how I was taught. I was taught by a friend, and it was me and another student, and his other student lived off the grid. He did not have a computer. He lived in the hills of Montana, and he learned how to trade. He is now a millionaire from trading. So if you have a passion for this, you can do it. That's absolutely who can do it. If you have a passion for it, that's really it.
Yeah, so for me, Mo, you know, I'm involved in a couple other hobbies that have bothered me for their chances to lose money. You know, I'm hoping...
This is interesting.
Yeah, so like I'm trying to... My goal, you know, is maybe to sell off a lot of my hobbies that I have. I told my wife, I said, there are tons of hobbies that lose a bunch of money. I've been lucky to be in a hobby where I've made a quite amount in return. And so, but like, so let's start there. Is like, I'm watching you. I'm interested. How much money can I start with? Is it as easy as $500, $1,000? Are we talking 10, 20,000? You've told me that you trade upwards of $100,000 in a day with a portfolio of a couple million. And so like, obviously that seems overwhelming for a normal cat like myself. Like if I wanted to say, let's get going, so explain to me, how much money do I need, and how much paper trading should I be doing over the next couple months before I can really start getting after this?
Right. So I recommend that, depending on how dedicated you want to be to this, 1 to 3 months of paper trading. And that means finding a software program like Thinkorswim paper trading. What's the Interactive Brokers paper trading? Or honestly, if you don't even want to open an account, open an Excel file and just start tracking trades in there. And the idea is to learn how to do this by using fake money, so you're not going in right away. If you really dedicate yourself to this, you can paper trade for a month and be ready to trade real money at that point. If you have a day job and you don't have time to do this every day, 3 months is plenty to learn how to paper trade. But I look at it saying, I'm 32 years old. If I had never done this before, I haven't traded a stock in 32 years. What is another 3 months going to do for me to learn the process and move on? It's very important that you learn your process, you learn your rules, because you don't want to get burned. Getting burned sucks because A, you lose money, B, you get really discouraged, and C, you try to make up for it and you don't make up for it. So that's kind of it. As far as the money goes, you can start with as little as $100. I mean, as long as you're making returns, it doesn't really, I mean, you can make 1% if you're trading $100 or $100,000. So anybody can really start with any amount of money. Now, if you want to do this for a living, different story. I mean, if you want to just do this, I think that $50,000 to $100,000, depending on the lifestyle that you want to live and keep up, if you want to quit your job, that is kind of it. I am in the fortunate position where when I make trades, I rarely trade less than 100,000 at a time, but I'm also I have that cushion where I can do that. I also have the experience that I can do that comfortably and know that I'm not going to lose all that money because I've been doing it for so long. So when I started trading full time, I was trading large sums of money because I wanted to continue the lifestyle that I had, and I needed to make enough money per year to do it. So, but I really think that anybody can do this with any amount of money. Start small. There's no rush.
You know, Mo, Jonathan brought up an idea. He was talking about taxes here. You and I have discussed this. Right off the bat, we've heard this a lot, and you and I share this vantage point of like, give us your thoughts on taxes. So many people say, yeah, but the taxes, yada, yada, yada. What is your thought with this?
So my thought is it doesn't matter. Just ignore the taxes. When we're talking about wash sales, yeah, you need to be worried about wash sales. There was a story that a friend sent me yesterday. He made a trade. He lost a lot of money. He entered it within 30 days. I can post this thing in the Discord if you guys want to read the story, but he got burned in taxes. If you're not doing crazy things like this, you guys are going to be just fine. But as far as short-term gains go and capital gains and this and that, it's extremely rare that you're going to be in a stock for over a year based on a trade the way that I do it. I do not think about taxes ever. When I go and make a trade, if I'm making 1%, I'm going to make 1%. Yeah, 45% or whatever it is now is going to go to taxes. I don't think that way. It doesn't affect me. They're going to take my money anyways. I just don't understand why people are so focused on these little details that they can't control. That's my biggest thing, Seth.
Yeah, you know, you and I were saying, we get this question a lot, what about the taxes? Anytime I go out and make money, I'm taxed on it. So, like, it's not really part of it.
It is what it is. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, it is. Whatever my accountant says I'm paying at the end of the year, there's ways to finagle it, but I wouldn't let that. Mo is definitely a big fan of saying, let's not let that hold you back from getting going. So if it is,
right,
put that to the wayside and learn the process. So, folks, I do know that a lot of you out there are asking about Geo Group, which is a very interesting situation, and we have our thoughts on that. I would say tune in a little bit later. This is a little more of an intro class, and Mo can definitely touch on Geo Group on his 9:00 videos. You'll be going live tomorrow morning, correct, Mo? So I'm certain you'll be touching on that.
Funny, Seth. I just made a video that's going to come out on Sunday on Geo Group, and of course it's from a trading perspective. And the reason I released it I want it to be released on Sunday is because I don't want people jumping in there Friday when my next video is coming out doing crazy things. So I'm kind of making you guys settle down and let the stock settle down, like I said many times in the video, and you guys will see how to trade those stocks that move 20% plus in a day. Okay,
Jonas saying the Discord server is a Patreon only. Yes, Jonas, we do. We are going to be implementing. I think in the future we're going to be implementing some lower tiers that give you very
April 15th.
Little access to. We'll give you a little more access. Don't freak out there, patrons. They're not getting what you get for your price, but we're going to let people. We're going to give people a little taste of what the Discord server looks like for a little bit of time. But of course, patrons, April 15th, next Thursday, Mo, is the big day. You guys will get that incredible Everything Money software. So, all right, we won't beat around the bush here, Mo. Talk about, people are just straight up asking, what are your return goals on a daily basis? I know you've told me upwards of like 2%. Like maybe this goes into like, let the cat out of the bag here. What are you trying to make on a daily basis, and how often are you winning and losing?
Right. So I would say that my I win on probably 4 out of 5 trades. And the reason is because I'm more of a conservative trader. Everybody knows that, especially people in the BidNast Nation know that when I make a trade, I'm waiting for an almost perfect setup on the chart where I have a very high likelihood of making money. Now, when I was day trading in 2015, 16, I was looking to make 1% per day. And that was my goal. That was enough money for me to be happy throughout the year. But I was just day trading only. Now that I'm not day trading anymore and I'm doing more long-term stuff, weeks to months of a trade, I'm looking to get 10 to 15% per trade. That is my ideal world. H&R Block, we got 17%. We traded Cardinal Health a couple weeks ago. I think we got 6% out of that. So it varies, but I like my average to come out around 11, 12% for the year. And I've done that many times over, and it's extremely possible to do by picking stocks that set up very well, and you don't have to chase these 10 times stocks. I don't trade those. Everybody knows that.
So I had to learn over the years that, folks, as we know, the general market return is 10%. But if we can stretch that number, watching Paul's videos, trading stocks, if we can stretch that 10% to 12 or 15, do a simple compounding interest calculator, it can really extrapolate over time to a ton of money. So I know it sounds just like a little bit, but that's sort of been my new goal, Mo, is get that 12 to 15% return, and we'll be golden. Yeah. Someone has how do you pronounce this name, Mo? Do you feel like trading is riskier than value investing? Is that this is Hoa? I love you.
I know he's from Portugal.
I love you, JP. I love you. What about JP, this? I think I have this. I think I have this mindset too. Is overall, it's riskier because maybe I don't know what's going to happen. We've heard from people that simply they just watch what's on TV and buy that.
Right.
It seems a little dangerous. So, what are your thoughts on the risk level for this?
So, I do think that the way that trading is presented to the majority of people and taught by the majority of people is incredibly risky. I do not think the way that I teach it is risky. I personally don't see risk unless you are trying to trade earnings, which is just crazy in my opinion, or there's some kind of news that comes out that is unforeseen on a stock. Like today, for example, Geo, where it drops 20% and the news just comes out of nowhere that they're suspending their dividend. That's the news, for example. So I do not think that trading the way that I do is risky, especially because we put in stop losses. So say a stock is up 5%, we're up on it. We don't want to give back that 5% gain that we have. We'll put a 3% stop in. So the most we can lose on that trade from our profits is 3%. So we'll come out of it with.
When you're buying the stock, you put a stop loss in. Describe that?
Yeah, I typically do. When I'm day trading, I always do, because on a day trading chart, things can move very quickly on you. Guys, there was one time back in 2015, I'll never forget. I traded a 3 times ETF called LABU, and I was doing it for days and days on end. I was making a killing on it. One day in a I think it was a 26-minute period, I lost 27 grand. And I remember just laying, because I didn't have a stop loss in. I remember just laying on the floor face down, and I'm just like, what an idiot. Why would I do that? So you can definitely get burned. Make sure you're using stop losses. And that, Seth, is why I do not think that my way of trading is risky. But that's why I say you got to follow the rules.
Yeah, so I've never heard of a way of trading, and this is new for a lot of our viewers. It was news to me. Mo, we talked before the show about a recent conversation I had with someone who was really supposed to know financials and got caught buying all these hype stocks from they thought they were long-term investing with some of these hype stocks, but obviously with trading, you're certainly into this hype. So I guess what is your discipline, your mindset? I get over emotional when it comes to trading stocks. My career, Paul definitely stresses this. He's more of a robot. But so what is the mindset of trading on a daily basis in terms of big gains, big losses? Like what can people expect?
So it's funny. When I see big days, and I'm going to use Geo, for example, just because it's happening today. When you see those 20% drops, those are the days where I think that a lot of people that trade get extremely excited and try to enter them. Like today, for example, a lot of people would get in and say, oh my God, I'm going to start shorting this thing. To me, I'm saying I'm not shorting this because this could be a major overreaction. Let's let it settle down for a couple of days. Let the chart kind of smooth out, see what direction it's going to go in. This could very well go up 10% by the end of the week from where it's at right now. So that emotional mindset, you have to really get rid of emotions. And that day that I lost the 27,000, I actually stopped trading for a little short amount of time. And I said, I have to figure out my emotions because I was being emotional. And now I'm one of the most emotionless traders there are. When I see something on the chart that I need to exit a position, I'm gone. I'll take the loss if I have to. In the long run, emotions in value investing and in charting, honestly, anything money, emotions are what you need to control the most. I'm sure it's even the same for Magic cards.
Yeah.
Control the emotions.
Yeah. Some people were talking about my Magic cards. I am trying to move them. I showed this on the show yesterday, but if you're a Magic nerd like me, I got this last week, and I'm going to do a Magic show for the patrons. Not Magic. I think that's a great idea. But I'm going to do a show highlighting my cards and all my wins over these years, Mo. So I'm into trading. It's just not stocks, more into Magic cards at the moment. So we'll all get there.
Slaying it, that's for sure.
So a lot of people are asking, do you trade? Not a lot of people. Jonathan was asking, do you trade short? Can you explain what that means and what he's talking about?
So I do not. In the last 2 years, I've taken one short position, and it was Duke Energy. And it turned out to work out for me. It was just too nice to pass up. So basically going short, and I'm not going to go into what a short is as far as who borrows shares, this and that. I honestly don't care when it comes to being on a chart. Basically, when you're selling short, you're betting that the stock price is going to go down. So if you sell short a stock that's $20 a share and it goes down to $15 a share, you make $5 per share. That's what it is. And for you patrons, there is a shorting seminar in the Discord or on the Patreon website or wherever it is. And I just go through for about 20 minutes and teach you guys how to short. And honestly, what it is, people overcomplicate it. If you flip the chart over of going long, that's all a short is. People just try to make chart reading and trading and anything money so complicated, and it doesn't need to be. I really like to go by that keep it simple, stupid thing. I think that's why me, you, and Paul do so well, because we're not trying to act smart. It just is what it is. When people start bringing in all these different patterns and this and that, that's, I think, when you overcomplicate things and then you miss the simple things and things go poorly for you.
Yeah, let's see. Make sure you guys, as people are saying, make sure you guys fondle and tickle that thumbs up. We love you. We know I love you. Mo, let's get into these confusing charts. If you can share your screen. Sure. People are asking, where do I get this? How do I start? Where can I go? Maybe we can get into that, Mo. Can you share your screen? I don't see it pop up. Here it comes. Here we go. All right, let's take a look at this now. Mo, describe what is this chart and where do you get this? Okay. I know people in the bid and ask know exactly what this is, but go ahead, Mo.
Okay, so this is a chart that I pay for. I'm not going to advertise it just because I'm not going to advertise it. And it's expensive. I pay $2,000 a year for these charts. And honestly, guys, you don't need these charts. You don't need to pay $2,000 for them. The only reason that I like using these, and eventually I'm going to create my own charts, you guys will have them. The only reason that I like using these is because they are color coded. So for example, when my red line crosses over this straight red line, everything turns green. It's very easy for me to show you guys and teach you guys how to do it just visually. But you guys can go into the Discord if you guys are patrons, and if you're not, join in there. There's a beautiful PowerPoint setup of how to replicate my charts exactly on TradingView. It's free. It was made by Cash, who's one of the Bid and Ask Nation. I call him my ambassadors. He's in there every day answering people's questions. He's really getting this stuff. He's making a lot of money. But that's where you need to get these charts. So let's talk about what they are. So this is my long-term chart. And the reason it's long-term, each one of these candlesticks is 1 day. Each one of these, this is my daily chart. Each one of these candlesticks is 1 day. The difference between the two is this down here. And this is called my stochastic or trend line.
Hey Mo, tell me this: are you drawing on your chart right now? I don't see your mouse. Yeah, unfortunately.
You can't see the drawing?
No, if I'm crazy, tell me out there, folks, if I'm seeing this wrong. But I don't see you drawing on that.
Shoot.
Yeah, that would be.
I wonder why.
I don't know.
I can just use the mouse if I have to.
Yeah, see, put your mouse in there. See if we can see a cursor going on.
Can you see that rolling around?
No, I cannot. We can't see it either, Mo. Interesting.
How about now?
Oh, there. They're there. Great.
Okay.
Go ahead, guys. Go ahead, guys. Here we go.
We'll go with this then.
Go ahead.
So this chart over here on my left, this is my long-term chart. And the reason it's called long-term is because of this thing down here. This is my stochastic, or I often call it a trend line. This is my weekly trend line. So when I talk about the overall trend of a stock, that's what this is. It's the long-term trend, and this is the stochastic that I use the most. When we come over here, let me actually just pull up my weekly stochastic on here so you guys can see it.
And these are the two charts you're going to have up most often, Mo, because already I feel confused.
Correct. These are what I use most often. And the reason I use these most often is because so this one on the left, this is what I use to trade going long term. And I'm talking weeks to months. So pretty much every trade that you see me make in the Bid and Ask Nation is always based on this chart only. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, going over to this more complicated, more detailed chart. You have down here, you have so many lines on here.
Yes.
These lines right here, white, purple, green, and yellow, those are my moving averages. So each one represents a specific day moving average. And all that means, for example, this purple line, it's your 25-day moving average. It's the average, that line represents the average price of a stock over the last 25 days. Some of those moving averages are more powerful than others. So for example, this blue line, it's the 100-day moving average. That's the average price of the last 100 days of the stock price. Now that one is a lot more important because it's very difficult for a stock price to push through there or fall below it. And I can go into more detail with this if you want me to, but that's where a lot of hedge funds make their decision. They see stock prices going into the 100-day moving average, and hedge funds are the people with all the money. They're the ones that are buying all the shares. Your financial planners, they're the ones that are buying all the shares. They will make a decision to buy or sell a stock at that 100-day moving average. So that, Seth, is why I like to have this detailed chart over here, just because I can see where the stock price is moving relative to those moving averages. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So you've also described how these averages, when they all are above, how do they work with each other? I know you get sort of excited when they're all going in a certain direction. Describe how they all work together.
So let me pull up, I'm going to pull up, I think Microsoft is a good example right now. Okay. So here, I always say, in a lot of my videos, I say we're over all four of our major moving averages. So
yes.
Our stock price here today is at, let's call it $250 a share. Our closest moving average is this 50-day moving average at $236.98. The reason that I'm very happy that we're above all of those major moving averages is because we can say there's nothing really stopping us from going to the upside. Let's say our 200-day moving average was at $256 a share. When Microsoft pushes up and starts running into that 200-day moving average at $256 a share, it's going to face a lot of resistance, and the stock price will more likely than not break through that level.
Now, see, there you go, Mo. So tell me that, because right then and there, when you say it's going to have downward pressure, it's going to have resistance from rising, I'm trying to envision what's happening in the world. Can you dumb it down for me? Like, what is happening and why? How do you know what you're saying?
That's a great question. So let's say that it's going into that. Let's pretend the 200-day moving average is at 256. It's going into that price. A lot of big traders and financial planners and whatnot are going to say, the stock price has given me a very great run over time, and now we're running into the 200-day moving average. The likelihood of the stock price going higher through that 200-day moving average is not as great as it was before it ran into it. So they're going to start selling off and taking their profits and putting money in their clients' pockets or putting money in their own pockets. So this goes back to me saying why I'm looking at the 200-day moving average so closely. It's because I am trying to create the highest likelihood of me keeping money in my pocket. And when I'm running into that 200-day moving average, I know that it's more difficult to get through that than any other moving average. So I'm going to take the profits, I'm going to put them in my pocket, and I'm going to be happy. Then I'm going to wait until we get immense volume, which is down here, or good news, or I don't know what it could be for Microsoft, new software that will propel me through that 200-day moving average. That's what's going to drive the price through that level. Does that make sense?
Kinda. I'm trying to follow. It sounds like you're trying to from what I gathered on the show, is you're trying to play off what the big corporations are most likely trained to do. And so you're kind of like a little fish in a big pond trying to develop your process. And so I'm sure you have it. The people in the bid and ask certainly know what's going on. So, you get so many upgrades from our low tier to our middle tier that like, I'm hoping this is helpful, guys. But, okay, Mo, so keep going. We talked about the moving averages. Keep going with your charts.
Sure.
And let us know more info.
So we were talking about what going into moving averages, going into resistance, what pushes the stock price through, what is going to create that big price rush like this candlestick right here. What's going to create this? The thing that drives stocks higher and higher, even in value investing, is volume. Volume is the number of shares traded per day. That's this all these volume candlesticks right here. All it's doing is just telling me how much volume there is per day. The more volume there is, Seth, the more buying volume there is, Seth, the higher the stock price is going to go on you. And that's why when in a lot of my videos, you'll say, I don't like the volume that's happening today. I don't like the volume that's happening the last week. You have to look at volume as energy. It's kind of what starts a car, what makes a car go forward. It's putting gas in it. Volume is your gasoline for your car. That's what's going to propel you through these hard levels of resistance, like the 200-day moving average, for example.
So I've heard this a lot, and I guess I always thought volume meant more interest and maybe more buying, but not necessarily buying. It's the buying and selling. So this is the catalyst that gets the trading going. So if volume sounds important, we pulled up some stocks during the live stream where volume was very, very low, and it kind of worried you. So is this one of our initial indicators, this volume, about getting interested in a stock, and how does that work?
Exactly right. Good. That's a great question. So it's my personal rule. I do not like trading. Every stock has an average volume traded per day. So that means the number of shares exchanged per day. I don't like trading stocks that have an average volume under 1 million shares traded. The reason is I do not like that. I'm going to go to an extreme, and I'm going to use penny stocks, for example. Penny stocks, a lot of them have an average volume of, say, 300,000 shares traded per day. And let's say that the stock is 30 cents. Somebody can go in there with a lot of money and go in there and buy 150,000 shares in a day and at 30 cents a share and really drive the price up to a crazy level. They can also go in there and sell 150,000 shares, and that will make the stock price drop like that. And that could be a significant loss. With a company like Microsoft, it's $250 a share. Unless somebody like Warren Buffett is going in there, nobody is going to be able to move. They're not going to be able to easily move a stock like Microsoft with an average volume of, what do we have here? 30 million shares traded per day. They're not going to be able to go in there and quickly move that thing. So that's my general rule, is make sure you're trading stocks that have 1 million shares or more traded per day. And you can find that anywhere. You can find that on your Apple stock thing, Yahoo Finance, really anywhere has it. And on my charts, and really on any chart that you use, this yellow line that I'm tracing over, that's the average volume. So you can see how frequently or infrequently a stock touches their average volume for that day.
Okay. Some people are coming in with some questions. I want to get to that. Valencia is asking, what volume indicator do you use? Is that just part of your charts?
Yeah, I know there's so many different volume indicators out there. Just put the average volume up there. Again, this goes back to just keeping it simple. Just put your average volume up there and let it go at that. See how many shares come in and out of the stock per day. That's all you need to know.
Gianni's asking, explain the noobs the concept of following the trend once you understand that the game is on. So maybe that's it, Mo. Is I guess as you're saying this, I'm getting the charts. I'm looking at volume. Like, when do you start getting interested in a particular company? But then I've also heard that you guys like even just cover up the company name because sometimes it doesn't matter. Obviously, the financials, the fundamentals don't matter. So like, what sparks your initial interest in that something could get moving besides our beautiful patrons, which, I love you?
That's an awesome question. So the first thing that I look at is right when I open any chart that any patron sends me in the chart reading questions, individual stocks, the first thing I look at is I go to my long-term chart and I look at my long-term trend. The thing that I'm looking for most is, am I in the sweet spot? And what is the sweet spot? The sweet spot is this red line, this red horizontal line to this red horizontal line on the top. Those percentages are 32 and 80% respectively. The reason that I want to be in this sweet spot, and the reason I call it the sweet spot, is because that gives me the highest probability of making money. Remember what charting is. This isn't telling us exactly what's going to happen. Sometimes it's going to be wrong, but it's giving us the opportunity to make the most money without losing during that time frame. So as soon as we cross into the sweet spot with our red line over our yellow, and all this red line and yellow lines are percent K and percent D. Seth, don't ask me what those are. They're algorithms, they're math. I showed him to Paul and he was like, yeah, I know these. I understand what these equations are. I don't understand what these equations are.
Okay,
he's my
going.
quant. He's our quant.
Okay. So
just know what they do. Again, that goes back to people are asking me like, do you use these lines? Do you use these lines? Guys, I don't care. And I don't care what, I don't mean to sound, I don't mean to sound bad about this, but like, I literally don't care. It doesn't make a difference to me what it stands for, what it doesn't stand for. I just need to know what they do and how to execute the pattern. So as long as we're coming up through the sweet spot, red line over yellow, that's the trend that I'm looking for, Seth. My most important thing is my red line over my yellow, moving over 32%. And that coupled with these nice engulfing candlesticks, that is when you're going to do well for yourself trading on a long-term chart.
Okay, yeah, you've talked about some, like I said, the downward pressure. A lot of people, I think it spoke to me. People were saying the sweet spot is where the cookies are. Simple Living is saying something about your cookie jar analogy.
I can give
really spoke to me. Obviously, analogy. I'm a little overweight. I love cookies, and so talk to me about chocolate chip. The oatmeal raisin. Have you put the grasshopper, the grasshopper chocolates on? Anyway, talk about the cookie jar, Mo. Tell me about it.
So that is, I'm really happy somebody brought that up. So this sweet spot. Between 32 and 80% right in here, I could call it the cookie jar. So when you are coming up through 32%, you're kind of coming through the bottom of the cookie jar, and you are moving up to the top, and you're grabbing full cookies that just came out of the oven, and that you have this entire room to run. So let's take this for example. We bought Walmart back here at about $138. It's now $140. We bought it in this engulfing candlestick because we saw it moving through the sweet spot. It was coming through the cookie jar, right up through the bottom. There's full-size cookies inside of this jar. As we're moving up, we are eating cookies all the way up as this stock price just continues to climb for us. As soon as we get to 80%, this line on top, that's when I start saying the trade is maybe over or it's late to get into it. And the reason is you don't have as much room to run, or your probability is not as high for the stock price moving up on you and you making gains in that stock. At that point, I would say just go find another stock. And they like the cookie jar analogy because we ate cookies all the way up. Once we cross over 80%, yes, you can eat the cookies, but all you're eating are the crumbs. So instead of making this much gains, maybe you're making this much gains. That's the analogy. And that's why we like buying stocks that are coming just crossing 32% with red line over yellow, because we have all this room to eat the cookies going all the way up.
So looking at this graph right away, Jonas is asking how are the cookies looking on this one? This is Walmart, right?
I mean, these are phenomenal. These are phenomenal. Like I said, somebody in the Bid and Ask Nation brought this to my attention back in here when we were under 32%. So this is where I actually did go in and buy a tracker share because I really wanted to own Walmart. I love that our red line was on top of our yellow, but we were under 32%. So we're not buying until we're into the sweet spot. So that's where you throw a tracker share on it, let it go for a short amount of time. A tracker share, for those of you that are new, you buy one share and the idea is to let it sit in your brokerage portfolio and you see it every day. So you have that monetary connection to it. It's not just going on your watch list and you forget about it and you miss the move. It's the fact that you see it every single day and you know that once that thing gets into your sweet spot, you can capitalize on it.
So you just buy that
tracker share on it back here. Pardon me?
I'm sorry. You just, this is a big saying of yours. When the merch comes out, put a tracker share on. It's huge for you. But so you're saying having this in once it's in my daily portfolio, what exactly am I? Is it just reminding you to look at it as opposed to being on a watch list?
Correct. Here, I'm going to pull up my watch list over here.
Okay.
So this is my watch list.
Oh, Mo, it's
and
not
look
showing.
At all these
oh, there it is.
on my watch list.
There, it's on the left side
Can
here.
You see,
yeah, go ahead.
It's on the left side. Can you see all those?
Yep.
Like this just gets. I don't want to. Walmart got lost in here. Here's Walmart, but look at where it got lost in all these ticker symbols. So the idea is that I spent $138 at the time. I bought one share, and instead of it getting lost in that mishmash, it's one of like 3 tracker shares that I have. So every day I'm reminded to go and just make sure to look at the trend and the candlesticks for Walmart. And that's why I caught that thing at the perfect time on this day. I think it was Monday.
So that green engulfing candlestick, the sort of taller one, you went in, and the people in the bid and ask went in and bought at this price. And how long are you? What are your trends saying? How long you're going to hold this puppy?
That's a great question. So typically, I do not like to say that. That's actually one of the most common questions that I get. What is your exit strategy on this? I don't really have an exit strategy. I have an idea of what I want to do, but to say that I have an exit strategy is not following my rules, because let's say that I want to exit the position at $148 a share. When it gets to 148, if I'm still getting really great engulfing candlesticks, my trend is still moving in the right direction, why would I exit the position? I'm more looking at, I'm going to do what the patterns tell me to do.
Yeah, so
now
this
my
is,
idea on this.
This is interesting, Mo. I was going to say this is interesting because Paul sort of says the same thing, right? If I sell a covered call on a price target, and then we get close to that price target, we can certainly reevaluate the company, and so that's basically, is that what you're doing? Is you're reevaluating it as like it's a new day, and if your trends and your rules are still the same, you would hold on and keep running, right?
That's exactly right. That's a great way of putting it. That's a great way of putting it. I have an idea in my head of what I want to happen, but I'm going to reassess every single day. And if something changes in the landscape, I'm just going to stick with it. Or something changes in the landscape to the bad side, and I'm just going to exit it with maybe very minimal gain or minimal loss.
So Clyde's asking, where is the stop loss on this Walmart trade? Why? Do you understand this question?
Yeah, I understand what he's saying. So I'm actually going to pull up. Now we're getting in a little bit deeper. So Seth, you've heard me talk about W formations, right?
Yes, but I'm not familiar with what they are. I mean, I guess, folks, as you're probably learning, and if you're there's a language like a foreign language, like a piano learning language, and so I'm still working on this. So what are these, Mo?
So basically, W formations are very strong buying patterns, and this is why me and you being in studio sometime and doing this, I'm going to be able to draw on the board and teach you in that way. So what I'm looking for, what W's are, is when the stock price, what I'm looking for are what are called higher lows. So as you can see right here, the stock price moved up and then pulled back a little bit. It moved up and then it pulled back a little bit. And this low that the stock made is higher than this previous low than the stock made. This low right here, this high right here is higher than this low right here. So those right there are great patterns to know when to add or when to put stop losses in. So when would I put a stop loss on? Did that make sense of what they are?
Yeah, you've talked about this, how something will run up and then the big investors will take a profit back. That 50% rule you've talked about, where if they've lost a ton of money and it runs up, once it hits 50%, they might exit and take a smaller hit. So I'm getting there. But keep going. Keep going.
So I'm going to answer his question about where I would put the stop loss in.
Okay.
With creating these higher lows, if this stock, let's say that this stock price pulls back and goes below this point right here where the red dot is, and that point is $135.33. That's when I'm going to exit my position. And I would exit at a loss. But the reason is that the pattern is failing me. This low would be lower than this one. So that means I'm looking at that point, I'm looking to see that the trend is going to change on me in the wrong way. I do not want to be in that. The reason the W's are so important is because they start creating these support levels for the stock price just to keep climbing and climbing. So what I'm hoping here is that Walmart pulls back a little bit, maybe to here, maybe $138.50, and then moves up again. It gives me another W formation moving to the top side. That would mean that this low right here was very strong. It was a good support level. It was probably, it was the 50-day moving average, because I'm just correlating it with over here of what price that was. And that just gives us more powerful buy signals, Seth. That's all W formations do. They just give us a more powerful buy signal, a better chance of continuing to make money moving up.
So you have to have some foresight in thinking like where I want to get in and out of these stocks. This is where your rules and your really, I think some of your research comes into play. People are asking, these transactions, they don't cost anything anymore. I remember just a few years ago, all these transactions cost money, but that's not the case anymore, right?
Yeah. So all these trades used to cost like $17 a trade. Then they moved down to like $8. Then they moved down to $5. And then TD Ameritrade was the first one to go. No, I'm sorry. Interactive Brokers was the first one to go to $1.99 trades. And then Charles Schwab blew everyone out of the water and went to $0 a trade. So to execute trades anymore, if you're in the United States, you have no fees. It doesn't matter. That's why. So I'll be honest. Before trades were free, I never used tracker shares because I didn't see the point of spending $5 for a trade to do one share. I just had a very tight watch list. Now that we have free trades, they cost nothing. Why not buy a tracker share here and there for something that looks good? But to answer the question, it's free to trade on most every US platform. And if it's not on your platform, you need to find a platform that does offer you free trading.
Mo, what about Europeans? Do you know anything about that? We have so many overseas folks.
So we have a lot of Europeans in the Bid and Ask Nation, and I've heard that it's like $10 for them to make a trade with their brokerage houses. So I know it's a little bit more difficult for them to use tracker shares, but guys, just have a really tight watch list. Have two watch lists. One that is basically, just call it your tracker share watch list. Have those 3 stocks secluded from the rest of them, and you'll be okay. But I'm sorry that you have to pay $10 a trade still.
I'd love to get back into Walmart here for a moment, and I guess a lot of people are looking at Amgen. Maybe Amgen's right, sure. But let's stay with Walmart real quick, Mo, because someone is saying, okay, this is a great question from the captain. Do you add more? Are you buying more on the way up, and when? How does that work? Interesting. Excellent
question. So this was my first ad. That was on Monday. We moved through the sweet spot. We started moving up. My next, if I get another big engulfing candlestick like this, I need to take out, let's say I get a big green candlestick like that. And I wish I could draw on my screen right now, but I can't. Big green candlestick like that. I'm definitely going to be adding to my position. So I think that I bought 30% of my position that I want in Walmart on Monday. So let's say I'm going to trade. Let's say I want to invest $300,000 into a stock. I'm going to buy $100,000 worth on Monday. Then I get another big green engulfing candlestick. I'll add another 100,000. And then when I get another big green engulfing candlestick, I'll add another 100,000. There's my full investment into it. So I do go into every single trade knowing that I want to invest X amount of money. I need to break it up the way that I need to break it up.
It looks like if you're following along at home in the chat, it looks like a lot of Europeans are chiming in with some platforms that are good, better, or best, maybe for trading.
Oh, good.
And we have some folks in Mexico
nice.
who are that's where Mo is right now, and your part owner is in the Mexico homes. If you follow the channel, we all go to Mexico in January. We do shows from Mexico. And what a gorgeous home we didn't even bring up. But Mo, you're in that beautiful Casa de Sofia down there in Mexico.
Yeah, so, I love this house. It's awesome.
Make sure you guys, I love you. And make sure you guys are tickle that thumbs up. Pretty pleased with sugar on top so that other folks can see this. Okay, Mo. So before we get off of Walmart, when do you start saying I need to exit? What signs are we saying let's get out of this thing?
Excellent question. So just like I'm saying, we're running up through the sweet spot. We get over 80%. That's when we start getting to our cookie crumbs. When that red line, I wish I could draw on this right now. When this, Seth, I'm going to go to a different, or I'm going to zoom out a little bit just so, okay, perfect. So this is Walmart. This is back in the day. I just want to give you guys the visual. So when the trend line starts moving up, we get into that 80% area, then you see it just kind of starts turning down on us. And you see that the stock price is turning down on us. As soon as that red line crosses through the yellow, going in the negative direction, that's when I exit my position. So what I'm looking for here is a nice run up. Eventually that red line will turn down, cross through the yellow, drop below 80%, and that's when I'm going to exit my position. That was an excellent question.
Would you say
you need to have an exit strategy?
Would you say it's too late to get into Walmart now? Are all the cookies gone?
No, I don't think that it's too late to get into Walmart. I do not think you should add today, because we always want to add on nice green engulfing candlesticks. This is not a candle that you would want to add on. And remember, guys, in the Trading 101 series playlist on the Everything Money YouTube page, there's a video about candlesticks, and you can learn what all the different candlesticks are. But what we would want to do, Seth, is add on a big green engulfing candlestick that takes out today's candle. So it just kind of eats that whole candle and moves higher in price. So it's not too late to get into Walmart. You definitely can. You just want to add on a good buy signal.
Mo, I think it call me stupid out there, guys. I love you, but I think it just hit me that each one of these lines is a day. That never actually crossed my mind. So yes.
Each one of these candlesticks is 1 day. That's correct. And same thing over here. Each one is 1 day. That's I probably should have said that earlier. My bad.
Oh, that's okay. So someone said, let's see. I think this is a relative of yours, Mo. Someone said, how would you approach the chart if you're day trading?
Oh, okay. Let's go to the day trade. Can you see my screen? I think I'm only sharing one screen. Let me share.
Yeah, go ahead, Mo. I'll fill time. Obviously, guys, we're filming across a live streaming platform and over a couple computers, so we're dealing with some of that. And Mo will try and figure this out here at the moment. With that said, you got it, Mo? Oh, I see it there. Here we are. Yeah. Now this looks even more confusing. What the heck is this?
Yeah. So this is, and why does this go away? Okay. This is a 15-minute chart, Seth. So remember how each one of those candlesticks was, I said it was 1 day?
Yeah, go ahead. Go on.
So each one of these candlesticks, let me pull up. I'm going to pull up Walmart. Each one of these candlesticks is a 15-minute period. So each one of these is 15 minutes. 15 minutes, next 15 minutes. So let's go here. This was 9:30 in the morning. This candlestick right here. This candlestick right here was 9:45 in the morning to 10 o'clock. This candlestick right here was 10 o'clock to 10:15. Does that make sense?
Yes. Okay.
So it kind of what it is basically, those candlesticks that I showed you on the other chart, this is really opening up one of those candlesticks, and it just gives you a little bit more detail. That's all it is. But this is how you day trade, because you're seeing the intraday moves that are happening very quickly.
So just a couple 15-minute increments away, you see that long green engulfing candlestick. Is this where you would have gotten in and then now look at the run? Is this what I'm looking at? Am I making sense of this or no?
Yeah, you are. I'm gonna zoom. Let me see this. I'm gonna come over here. This is a great example to come over here. So all of my videos that I post on YouTube, I show at the very last chart, I show you guys how to make day trades. And it's a little bit counterintuitive to what we look at on the other charts. Now on the other charts, we say that between 32 and 80% is the sweet spot. That's where we want to buy. That's where we want to make the most of our money. On a day trading chart, to go long, we want to be between 80% on our percent K, which is right here, 80%, between 80 and 100. And as long as our trend line stays between 80 and 100, we can stay in that stock and make money. As long as we're between 80 and 100, we're typically getting pretty good buying volume. That's what these bars are right here. And we're getting these nice engulfing candlesticks, like you said. Great candlestick here. You could have added here, and so forth and so on as the stock price moves up on you. As you stay above 80%, your stock price will typically move up on you. Now, the most important thing for day trading is know your exit strategy. I say between 80 and 100. As soon as this percent K drops below 80%, like so, that's when you exit your position, you sell your shares, and you move on. People that do not trade this way and try to say, oh, if I think it'll come down here and go back up here, you're going to lose every single time. It's just not going to work for you. So the most important thing to remember, if you're going long on a 15-minute chart, is your sweet spot is between 80 and 100. and buy on good engulfing candlesticks? That was a great question.
So let's roll it back to more simplistic. How long does all of this take? What does a day in the life look like?
Good question. So back when I was day trading, I would honestly, I think a very important thing for day traders is to pick 5 stocks. Pick 5 stocks that you really like, and that lets you kind of learn the behavior of the stocks. So you know that you kind of know what they're going to do, and their patterns repeat themselves over and over throughout the year. So I think it's very important to pick 5 stocks and stick with those 5 stocks, and don't try to go see what the biggest mover of the day, like today, for example. If one of your stocks is not Geo and you see Geo moving today, don't trade Geo. It's great that the stock price is falling, this and that, but you're going to make a lot more consistent money if you stick with your 5 stocks that you like. So that's the first thing that you need to do in the life of a day trader. Pick 5 stocks. Next thing, when I was doing this, I would start at 9:30 in the morning and I would be done by 11 o'clock.
Yeah, you said that, and I'm like, it sounds like you're not working. You're not shoveling cement or laying bricks in the hot July sun. It sounds like, but so what are the when you say that, Mo, it sounds like you're not working that hard or that long. Yeah. But what are the downfalls people can fall into? Like, say I'm looking to get into this. What should I be ready for?
Yeah, the downfalls. To be honest, Seth, the downfall is not using stops and getting burned on a stock. So this is a company that I trade. This is the company that I lost 27 grand on because I wasn't using a stop. It's not a company. It's a ETF S&P that trades 3 times as fast as the market. So I would look for, basically every morning I knew that LABU did this little period where we made, it moved from 81.50 up to $84. So that's $3. That's a big percentage. Every morning I would pretty much go in and try to trade LABU, and I would this started at 9:45 in the morning and I was done by 10:30 in the morning, 10:15. Again, same thing later that morning. You had to move from $81 to $84. So I knew that every single day in the morning before noon, LABU would do some kind of move like this. I didn't know when it was going to happen, but when it did happen, I was always there to grab it. And that was just the benefit of me knowing the behavior of this specific stock. So yeah, it sounds crazy that you work for an hour and a half, 90 minutes a day, but it's kind of efficient. You go in, you make your money, and you're done. And I think another reason I was a very successful day trader is I knew that I wanted to make that 1% per day. As soon as I made 1%, I was done for the day. That was it. I didn't try to go in there any day ever and try to make 2%, 3%, anything like that. It was just stick to my rules, stick to my system, do it, and I knew that I would do well in the end. And it did work out. So, yeah, that's that.
Do you understand?
That's how you get away with 90 minutes a day.
Do you understand this question? Do you use divergence as an indicator?
I don't know what that means. That's another thing about just keep it simple, stupid. I don't know.
Okay. Grandizer, if you can explain what you think. Yeah, folks, let me recap a bit. If you're just joining us, we've been going for an hour already. We talked about our early mindset and approach about how to get going with trading, how to start, who would be best for this process, how much money you can start with. It's all, if you just want to rewind, it's all before. People are saying, Mo, I'm getting other comments about the idea of like, hey, I'm scared because of all the taxes. And luckily, Paul is in here saying, look, I'd rather pay taxes on income than not make the money at all. Yeah, so all this can be described in our Discord. Mo, is this possible? I don't think I could ever do this without our Patreon, without your guidance. This isn't something that just somebody could just fire up and do on their own, right? It seems like it's pretty difficult.
I think the benefit of having me is that I've been the person that's been kind of out there by myself, just kind of flailing around, figuring out how the hell to do this. And I have a system, and the system works. And I think that if this speaks to you, then you should just come and learn my system. And people have shown that they have very efficiently learned to use my system because I make it so simple. In 4 to 6 weeks, they're ready to trade and they're making money.
Let's talk about. I guess people might be saying that Amgen might be primed for something interesting. Mo, do you want to pull it up and maybe see? People were asking about this before, and I'd like to maybe give you another example.
Sure. I'm just going to pull up my chart again here. Oh, nope, that's the wrong one. Hold on, Seth.
You're doing great. Yeah, make sure you guys are tickling that thumbs up. Of course, we do have a live stream tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Paul and I will be on. We'll be talking about Geo, the news today. And we're going to be shooting some videos for this week. We want to talk about Kroger. We want to talk about BP. Mo's take on Geo Group will be coming out this Sunday. And so, yeah, go Mo. Let's get back after these charts.
Yep. So the reason that people are asking about Amgen is because we are in the stock as the Bid and Ask Nation. So we entered on this day with this great engulfing candlestick. Again, you saw that the trend was moving up so nicely over 32%.
Yeah, I'm seeing this now, Mo. I see the red line crossing the yellow, which is our good indicator, and then now here come the engulfing candlestick, the green one up there. That's our buyish signal. I like where we're headed. Keep going.
Yep, that's exactly it. So that's when we decided to add to it. So far, I mean, we bought that day, and you can see it's just kind of been going sideways on us. The price hasn't really moved, but the thing that keeps giving me encouragement is that we still have the nice trend. And I say this all the time, the trend is your friend. If you trust your trend, you will be a successful trader. I'm not going to lie, I'm starting to get a little bit nervous about Amgen, but the trend is still going in my favor. We still have red over yellow. We're still moving up through the sweet spot. And Seth, the other thing that gives me a lot of encouragement is that we're over all four of these major moving averages over here. Mm-hmm. And that just gives me the confidence to say we don't have that kind of resistance above us, and we have support lines below us. I haven't touched on support, but support is basically, I don't foresee Amgen dropping below any of these moving averages right here in this 235 to 240 range. So that gives me a lot of confidence to say Amgen will be okay. It has support. There will be buyers that will eventually come into the stock and move it forward. So that's probably why people are asking about Amgen, because they're getting a little scared because they're not trusting their trend.
Yeah, reiterate, Mo, on this left side, what chart is the red lines represent? This is the what average over the what average?
Sure. This is the weekly stochastic or weekly trend line, and it's the %K average, which I have set at 10. I do not know what that means, so I just use it. And my %D, which is my yellow line. So remember, you guys can set this up. There's a beautiful PowerPoint in the Patreon announcements and in the Bid and Ask Nation welcome page if you decide to join. And you can exactly replicate these charts to, and you'll just have exactly what I have on my screen right now.
Okay.
But all those are my trend line. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, it's starting to make some sense here. This would be fun to have you and I go through some of this.
Oh yeah, that'd be really great.
Okay, guys. Let's open it up to some questions, perhaps. We've been going for an hour. Paul has taken over the chat, Mo. If you can see in the messages, it's all about him, and he's just getting after it. I love you. All right, let's talk about Mo. With all this said, there's a lot more to learn. There's a language to learn, which sadly I've been in front of it a lot, and I'm still trying to get it. So talk about one more time for new folks who've come in. Talk about what's going on in your Patreon. How do people get involved with this? Tell us what your Patreon group is. The Bid and Ask Nation, our middle Patreon tier. It fills up like every single week. New tiers are made. Tell us all about it, Mo. What are you guys doing?
So the Bid and Ask Nation it's my tier. You have full access to me day and night. I've grabbed a couple of people to help me answer questions just because it's growing so quickly. You guys can ask me individual stock questions. Say you want to trade, I don't know, Tesla. Ask me about Tesla. I will do an evaluation for you. I'll do little videos for you, little 1-minute videos of why I would or why I wouldn't get into something. We talk about options in there. We really talk about everything in there. And there's a lot of very knowledgeable people and very good traders in there. And a lot of people are making a lot of money. So, and somebody just said the Bid and Ask Nation never sleeps. I mean, the Bid and Ask Nation never sleeps because we have people all around the world. So there's always some kind of conversation going in there. It's really incredible how this thing has grown. And don't forget, even with joining this, you get access, you get all of the Everything Money software, you get entered in to win the Tesla. I mean, it's a great value. There's people that have made, somebody messaged me and they go, hey, I've been in here for 6 weeks. I've made 2 years of Patreon payments already. So thank you for that. I'm just like, man, okay.
Yeah, you've sent me over some of the screen captures of the positive comments you're getting. So yeah, other videos, people said, boy, you guys are doing a hard sell in the Patreon group. If you follow it all and you're not a patron, whatever we're doing, it just keeps filling up every single week. All the tiers fill up. We have to make a new tier. And so for those of you who got in early, our $8 peeps who got in at $8, or Mo, remember
the people that got in at $25 in the
20. I'm just gonna say the $25 people, that will be your price locked in. The software comes out next Thursday. Very exciting day for all of us. I see Harry on. Harry, let's chat today. I love hearing stories from our patrons. So connect with me or Mo on the Discord. Mo,
that'd be great.
Let's wrap up a bit. What are your? This was just like, I guess, an intro. I feel a lot better. I think there's a lot more to learn. So in general, if I'm interested, what's the best mindset moving forward of how to get involved?
So I think if you're interested in this, join the Bid and Ask Nation. Come on in for a month. Yesterday, we decided that we were going to allow people to do one upgrade and try it out. So if you've been on the fence about it, come on in for a month and see what it's all about. See if it speaks to you. It's not for everybody, but I think a big hesitation for a lot of people, and something that I really want to emphasize, is this is not for just day traders and people that do this on a daily basis and sit there at their computer all day. Say you're out all day, you travel a lot, it doesn't matter. You can trade on long-term charts. That is the majority of trading that I do. If you notice today, I really spoke about Walmart from a long-term perspective, Amgen from a long-term perspective. You can go in there and just check your stock every day, check it on your phone. There's a lot of people that they kind of think, I don't have time to do this. You do have time to do this. If you're passionate about it, you can learn it, you can do well. So, and coincidentally, you got those people that want to day trade and they're killing it. So it's a little bit for any schedule, any age, any person, anybody can do this.
Yeah, I hear this a lot. Folks say, I don't have time to learn about stocks. Some of my family members have just said, I just simply don't have time for it. And I brought this back on the show. It's like, gosh, we leave our house to go make money so many times. I'm driving all over the country just to make the money. And then I say, on the other hand, I don't have time to know where it's going or who's in charge. God forbid, give it to a financial advisor, which we've talked about on the show. My mom's financial advisor, oh Lord, Maron, what he's got my mother in with her later in life funds. Yeah. So
Seth, you know what's funny? I was talking about this with Paul the other day. People, like you said, people go out and make all this money and then they go and they give it all to a financial advisor or something. And I'm like, man, if you have no interest in this, you can literally take 24 hours a year. And I said 24 hours a year, and Seth and Paul was like, that's a high number. I'm like, yeah, I know, but 24 hours a year. If you just go in, figure out what ETFs to buy, maybe trade a little bit, 2 hours a month, if you wanted to, you could really dedicate to managing your own money and do well for yourself. I think it's incredible how people don't think about it that way. They think about it as, oh, this is a lot of money. I need to have a professional manage this for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And they make it sound so simple. So like most financial advisors are going to take, that 1%. It sounds like so simple, but frankly, like we're only I want to gain just a couple percentage points on the top and above 10%, like,
yeah, exactly.
I say it all the time, that compounding interest calculator about how much money I have saved now and what can it turn into. And if I can just move that number from somewhere like 10 to 12 or 15, it's like mind-boggling.
That's right.
Mind-blowing.
When I was going to the high school, my old high school, and teaching kids about this before the coronavirus, I loved on the first day pulling out that compounding interest calculator, and that was how you hooked them. It was incredible.
Well, for us, it was just a lot of relieved a lot of stress that we weren't doing the right thing. Nothing was ever going to be enough. We weren't going to retire because it still feels like such a small number. I'm 40. I got 25 years to 65, and it still feels like a small number. I have about 450,000 saved in my retirement. Yeah. And that's not enough. I mean, that's not enough. But boy, oh boy, if you can stretch that number to 12 or 15% return, it turns into like over $20 million, something absurd. So
yeah, between what you're doing with value investing and now you're getting into options, And then if you get into trading, I mean, you can really magnify that for sure.
Yeah. Oh, Bearded Wonders here. Hey guys. Okay. Folks, there's a couple of final questions when we started talking, Mo. Let me just add, do you recommend using paid stock alerts in Twitter? That's interesting. Do you know what he's talking about?
I do not know what a paid stock alert is. I'm assuming that if you want an alert, you pay for it and Twitter will notify you. I have a TD Ameritrade account, so I use Thinkorswim. It comes free with it. They have a great app, and they actually have a thing where you can put alerts in. Say you want to buy a stock at $15.50. Put it in at $15.50. As soon as it hits that, you will go ahead and it'll give you a notification on your phone. So any alert system is fine. I'm sure Twitter's fine if you want to pay for it.
Yeah, look at this. Do you know Don Mo? Don says he's a truck driver. He works 11 to 14 hours a day, and he's in the bid and ask, and he's learning, doing great. That's great.
I did not know that Don was a truck driver, and I had no idea. That's incredible. Yeah, I'm sure go and make a trade at a truck stop while you're peeing. He'll be good.
Yeah. That's what. A lot of Paul's trades are done on the toilet. All right, guys. Reckon Alibaba's on the up, Charlie. Do you follow this day trader guy? This Mo? Do you follow this zip trader guy? Young kid named Charlie. He talks about day trading. Do you follow him?
I have never heard of him.
He does some pretty interesting videos. He's anyway, a lot of people follow him. Zip Trader is one of the guys.
Never heard of him.
He's got a huge following, so it seems pretty
awesome.
sharp. So, all right, guys, that's sort of our show. If you've missed it, feel free to rewind. And then join the Patreon, the Bid and Ask Nation, the middle Patreon tier. We'll clarify some of the Mo. I know you guys have switched your stance on upgrades and downgrades. So if Paul, I think Paul's answering some folks, but just for everyone watching, over 200 people, can you reiterate the upgrade and downgrade policy that we'd like to extend to folks?
So prior to this, we didn't like that people were upgrading and downgrading and this and that, because our previous rule was if you upgrade, say you're paying $8 a month, you upgrade to my tier, then you try to go back to the lowest tier, you're going to be paying $18 a month instead of $8. Now, if you upgrade and you want to try the Bid and Ask Nation for a month, you can upgrade, pay the $61 a month that it is right now, and then you can move back down to return to your $8 a month or whatever you're paying at the time. So you get one move, and we will let you do that just to come and try out the Bid and Ask Nation.
Okay, great. So
or Paul's Super Shorts here. I mean, whatever. But
yeah.
I think that most people that are here want to try out the Bid and Ask Nation and go from there.
Yeah, we have so much planned for this summer, guys. The channel is growing so quickly. We hear all of your suggestions. We want to do more basic videos like this one. And I know for some of our OG homies who've been at this a while, maybe a basic video, you've leveled up, but we definitely have a lot of people who want to learn. So a very exciting week coming up, folks. So Paul and I go live on tomorrow, and Paul and I go live tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. I'm thinking about doing some sort of fun Magic live, Magic the Gathering live. It sounds so stupid, but people are fans of that. And then next week is huge, Mo. Paul and Mo will be home from Mexico, back in the studio. Our Tuesday, Thursday live stream. Thursday is our day of reckoning. Software Day, April 15th is coming out to all of our patrons. You finally get the 8-pillar system at the touch of your hands. And so my 10-year-old is very excited about being able to analyze some of his portfolio, which has stretched to $5,500. Mo, he's very excited as a 10-year-old.
I mean, he's 10 years old. He has all this money.
Well, I mean, he'll sell off Christmas presents to put it into his funds.
That's incredible.
His funds. So
he's going to be a very wealthy person.
Yeah, and I swear I look up to him because he sees tangible goods or any money as long-term savings, and so it's really good. So there's
people in their 50s that don't see that. But Seth, remember, when we get back, we're also, I don't know if it's going to be this next week, but the following week, Paul and I are going to do an options only discussion for Patreons only. So it is going to be it's going to be awesome. We've been getting it a lot, and we're going to do a very focused one on just selling options. I think this is now a great time to learn that, because there are not many puts to sell just because everything's so expensive. It's a great time to learn.
Great. Yeah, so next week, the April 15th, the software is released to our patrons. April 16th, that next day, we're going to have our wonderful fireside chat at Paul's house, which soon to be Mo's house. So the fireside Patreon-only live stream will be next Friday, not this coming Friday, next coming Friday, the 16th at 6 p.m. Eastern. Yes. And we welcome you guys in. Mo, closing thoughts on today. Close it up for me, babe. What are you doing moving forward?
I thought this was great. I really wanted to. I love the fact that Seth is interested in this because I can kind of teach it to him like he is you guys, because he is. And this was a great intro. The next time we're going to go into something that's more detailed, and we'll go over charts, and we'll both be in studio, and it's going to be great. So join the Bidnash Nation, come trade, make a lot of money, and this is awesome.
I love you out there. Tickle that thumbs up on the way out. We will see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Mo, I love you. I'll talk to you soon. See you guys.
Love you too.
Peace.
Bro. See ya.